Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sunday stream. Today we've got Sean on with us. You will have seen him in the thumbnail. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk music, specifically guitar. So we're going to go through teaching guitar through Notion. For those of you new to the stream or haven't been here before, what we're going to do is talk about Notion. We'll share our screens, potentially build some things in Notion and discuss how you could use it, how other people use it, and potentially troubleshoot some of the things that Sean and Jonathan's are actually going to go over, because Jonathan understands guitar where I don't. If you have any questions, you can put them in chat and I will try and bring them up on screen. If the chat does go quick, there is a form in the description below where you can add a question and I will get it up on my screen over there. If you're coming in on the replay, I will add timestamps at the end of the stream so you can see what's going on and zoom through. But that is all the housekeeping to start with. Make sure you let us know that you're coming in the chat. So, Sean, do you want to do a bit of an intro of what you're doing, who you are type thing?
Yeah, I am a guitar teacher based in Hampshire in England. If you've ever read Watership Down, not far from there. It's a local-based business, but recently I've been teaching more via Skype and Zoom, as you might imagine. And I've just basically turned my mind to business development, and I came across Notion, and it seemed to me, and the more I looked into it, especially, that it was the way to kind of forge ahead and make some interesting, quite exciting progress in my business. So, and then I found you, and now I'm here.
Yes. Just so everyone knows, there is a link to Jonathan's YouTube channel in the description and a link to Sean's website in the description. So if you want to find out more about what Sean's doing, there is a link in the description to follow through and go to. So Funnyland, good to see you. Nice to have this routine every Sunday. Yes, it is definitely a routine. We've got a special guest coming on in a couple of weeks. So when that comes out, I'm sure you'll enjoy that one. So Sean, do you want to start sharing your screen?
Yeah, sure.
I can see you're looking at my screen at the moment. So
right.
There we go. Right.
Can you see it? Right. So I have here. It's not, to be honest, it's not very pretty yet. I haven't gotten around to the aesthetics, but essentially what I've got is a list of my students, and for each one I've created a Kanban board, and I've shared that board with that particular student. And actually there's nothing on that one. Let me choose something a bit more exciting. So Toby's got some stuff. So the idea is that these lessons, these pages corresponding to various lessons, get moved along as the student progresses in that particular lesson, and so on, until it reaches the very far end, which is, they've conquered it, and so on, and then I just give them more stuff. So that's what I've got for every single student. I've got a list of kind of all my lessons. I've kind of modeled the progression on the martial arts school of belts. You start at white belt, but obviously you don't have belts in guitar. You have guitar straps, so white strap. So this is just a long list of lessons, which I just duplicate and upload onto the students' Kanban board. So these are some of the lessons. I need to add loads of content to each of these. I want to add, so if I get one with some detail to it, let's choose, where's the clash? Yeah, there it is. So that's got some details to it. I've got a little toggle here, and if you practice this, then your bar chords will get better, and so on. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. And I've also got a little bit of listening recommendation there. So I'd like to add to that some audio stuff and some video and some images of musical notation, without kind of clunking everything up with heavy data and uploads and stuff. So whoops. Yeah, that's what I got so far. There's a lot of work to do though.
So just to give everyone an idea, how long have you been using Notion?
Not long at all. About 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's
Yeah.
not bad. 2 weeks, to be
Very
fair. If I bring us all back, yeah. So that's not bad to be fair. I mean, 2 weeks to understand Notion to that extent is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot you can do with Notion, obviously databases and the rest of it. Jonathan's actually been quiet, like as an odd aside. Jonathan actually understands guitar way better than me. So Jonathan, I'll leave you to sort of take off with this one. I've just seen Torin put master 4 chords in chat.
Yeah, that you can play a lot of guitar with just 4 chords, but that's beside the point. So what's your problem with your system so far? What do you find is you're struggling with most of all with what you've got already?
It's probably just the task ahead of me, which is to get loads of lesson content up there. I think I don't know the best way to get everything I want into the lessons, like video and audio efficiently. And I don't want to create anything that's going to translate into a slow user experience. But I like the idea of having something that I can interact with the student with outside of the lesson. That's going to be really useful. But yeah, that's probably my current challenge, is getting all the content up.
My first sort of like question is, does everyone do the same lessons?
Yeah, well, at the moment, that's what I've got. I mean, I've kind of diverted from my original kind of model of teaching, where I was. I kind of rotated 4 lesson models. I'd have one kind of on a checklist of baby steps. The second would be a song of my choice. The third would be something of their choice, and the fourth would be, I can't even remember now, something else. But I'm just trying out this idea of where I've got a stockpile of hundreds of lessons, and I kind of choose one depending on what that particular student's interested in. And I'm trying to cover all bases, but the advantage would be that the student that way could access lots of information without me having to create it on the day. I could just it's pre-created, and I'd kind of run them through in the actual lesson, which is at the moment via Skype, but I could do it just as easily live. Yeah.
That sounds good. I mean, essentially, you've made a template of the lesson by the sounds of it, and you're just applying that to the student when need be, and then you've got that board to go through the process.
Yeah. That's it.
Right. So, Jonathan, I know you've done a bit of pre-building. Are you sitting on that page right now?
I can be. Yes, I am.
Let's not share my private files. Let's not do that one.
Probably not. No.
Wait, why are we over here?
Oh, that's very interstellar.
We're really moving now.
Yeah.
There we go. Pro streamer right here. Well, you've got to have a bit of fun.
No, it's not just me.
Got to have a bit of fun. Everyone's probably got really confused now. It's like, what screen are we looking at?
Whoa. It was like from Interstellar.
Very quickly.
I got told off for having a separate scratch.
Right, before John starts, I do want to point out that this is a shared space. So John is editing, but I'm sharing my screen, which is why you see John's little bobblehead over here. So for those of you that don't know, this is a joint space between both of us. So he's going to build stuff, and it may be slightly delayed, but it's not me building it. Okay, I'm just going to point that out to you. So if he makes a mistake, it's not me, it's him. Carry on, John.
Oh, that's it, is it? Oh, that's it. I mean, you could go ahead and build it if you like. I mean, go ahead. It's fine.
You've got the experience. I'm just pointing out that if there is a mistake on screen or a spelling mistake, that's you, not me.
Yes, thanks a lot. So I can't show exactly what I do with mine because, for obvious reasons, student information and stuff.
Important stuff.
I have just very quickly Wow, there is a delay, isn't there? Ah, Danny, you're going to need to open the toggle because when I open the toggle, it won't change on yours.
That's why I did say to share your screen, but hey.
Yeah, all right, fine. Share my screen. If you're gonna
Hey ho.
about it, if you're gonna get upset about it, there you go.
I'm not. You're the one that said it, not me.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so.
Oh dear.
My...
I don't even know what's going on there.
There's so many ducks.
Have you done it again?
I'm sharing Sean's screen, not your screen. There we go.
I
was like, what's going on? There we
go. If I click here, it doesn't change. Good, that's fine. Okay, good. I just wanted to check so I can see you as well because I've only got one screen. So I have, similar to you, you've got your students and kind of like the music or the repertoire. So a lot of my stuff is kind of a lot simpler and more kind of chord work, the full chord things that Torin said earlier.
Yep.
I have 3 databases. So the reason why I use databases is because I can connect things together. I can create things once and then kind of link them to the students. So inside of my repertoire database, I have a series of songs, which has like a standardized template, which shows you, which I don't have the screenshot. Do I have the screenshot? No, I don't have the screenshot. Okay, fine. Which shows you like the song name, an embedded YouTube video, and like the chord charts or the, a PDF of the tab or whatever it might be, as well as the strumming pattern on the right-hand side. So with your kind of technical exercises and the songs you could have, instead of having them as like a separate page, so, exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3, exercise 4, you wouldn't need to do that because you can just have it as a database. So I'm going to very quickly create a database.
Yeah, please do.
How do I have it? We'll have it in line. And so you would have like song name.
Make sure you're explaining what you're doing, John, for those that don't know.
Yeah. So what I've done here is I was expecting you to jump in and like go, this is what this is. But no, you want me to do the lock. Oh, goodness me.
It's easier to go right /table and like explain what you're, well, that's what I find anyway. When I'm building something, just repeat what you're doing.
Yeah. So what I did there is I created a table, which is /table. I'm creating it in line. Normally with my own, I have it full page so that I can bug fix. But in this, I'm creating it nice and simple in the page because otherwise Danny's going to tell me off. And so I'm going to delete all these properties because no one uses them and they're annoying. And so here we have like a song name. So one of the songs you were talking about earlier, it was, give me a song that you were working on earlier, Sean.
Okay. What was I working on earlier?
There was like 100 songs there.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to pick one. I have been teaching today, though. Let's just say, oh yeah, "My Sweet Lord" by George Harrison was a song I taught this morning.
Is it bad that I've never heard of that?
No, it's pretty old school, but I teach. There's actually quite a large retirement market in guitar teaching. Think about it. There's a lot of people finish work and they want to brain train and stave off arthritis and jam with their mates and play the songs of yesteryear. It's nice working with those people.
So what I'm doing now is so that you can. There are lots of songs that you teach, and often you may want to look at all the songs by a certain artist. So what I've done is I've added a property here, named it author, and I'm going to use for this one a select property. So this is kind of like a tag. So we would have, My Sweet Lord, who is it by? Because my brain has gone blank.
George Harrison.
Can't spell.
G, not J.
That's good. No, that's spelled correctly, I believe.
Thank you. Ha!
Screen's too small for me to read it anyway.
Can everybody else see the screen, or do I need to zoom in all seriousness? Can people see? Because I know that sometimes people can't see what I'm writing. So let me know if they can't see, Danny. So I have the song name and I have the author. You would also have, for example, you would have the key. We'll come back to that in a minute as a potential idea. So each of these is a separate property. Now these properties go across every single piece. So all of the kind of song name, the author, the key, etc., etc. If it was me, I would have chords as well for those who are playing rhythm rather than lead. And so you could have each of these properties here. Now, this isn't like a traditional kind of spreadsheet. It looks like it right now until we press this button here where you can open. And inside of here, this is a page where you can have more information added in. And this is where
Roxanne said zooming in would be great.
Yeah. I'll zoom in.
So zooming in a little bit. There we go.
So I've opened this entry as a page, and then inside of here, you can add any of the content that you would normally do for each kind of song. So for example, you would have perhaps an embed of a YouTube video of you playing it, perhaps examples of like related scales, things like that. Now, if you were having to create that every single time, it would be and take ages, and also each time it would be very slightly different, and it would be hard to edit, because I remember talking before that like you make changes to one and then you've got to go back into each individual student and make another change and another change and another change and another change.
Yeah.
And so by having your repertoire here inside of a database instead of a page, you can then use the template you had. And if we click this button here, I'm going to create a template, and so this template is new song. And we're just going to have a nice emoji, and we're going to have it as a guitar because we can. And then inside of here, I'm going to just shoot in a few ideas. So what I did there is I was using the hashtag or pound sign or whatever people call it these days to create a heading, and it would be, you know, video demo. And then you can embed a video using /video, and that can be embedded via YouTube or Vimeo, or if you want to upload it directly, it's completely up to you how you want to do it. You can have that in there. And then I'm trying to remember your template. If you want to shoot some
what was it? Various things I've got on there was you know, how this will benefit your playing. You know, the things that it tests, like whether it's, I don't know, syncopated strumming patterns, or I don't know what else would come up in that, bar chords. Technical tips, you know, things to watch out for technique wise. Practice tips, you know, things, you know, strategies for practicing, and also just room for the students' own notes when they encounter a problem, you know, when they encountered it. So the date and you know, the cause of the problem and their ideas for how to solve it. I think that gets the student kind of thinking how they ought. And what else? Yeah, I just like the idea of having a listening recommendation at the end. So if you've learned a song, here's an album by that artist, and you know, the idea is to kind of expand your musical horizons a bit. So.
Oh, so there's some nerdy stuff coming up in a minute, which we can.
You're good.
Have some fun with that. So what you could.
Are you thinking about putting a database for the listening recommendations?
I was, and we could actually just have it. Yeah, I was thinking that, yeah. But then I don't want to add more databases because you'll yell at me.
Yeah. Have as many as you want, as long as you know what you're doing.
As long as you don't spoil the broth with too many databases.
Exactly.
So this is kind of a very, I'm going to slow down, because if I don't, then I would get too excited. But you could actually, as an example, what I was thinking of doing is you could add in here a linked database, so you can link to the actual, either the repertoire itself. This is the linked database. So this is a view of the same database. Can't spell repertoire. I really can't. And then what you can do inside of, there are multiple ways of doing it, but the simplest way of doing it is to add a filter here. So click add a filter where author is, and then you can select author. So we only have one, which is the George Harrison one in here, which is a bad example because we only have one. But once we come out of this template, you can change that yourself. We could, as Danny's probably thinking, oh, why don't you use this or this or this? We could do it with some more funky like relations, but we're already going to tackle relations later anyway, so we're going to stop there.
Excellent.
Any points yet, Danny? Any corrections for me, or am I doing you proud right now?
Do what you want. You're the Notion biz guy.
Oh, the sass. So we've created the template now, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click this button here to call in that template.
Something I will add is, for anyone curious, this is available on replay. So if you do get stuck or confused or anything like that, you just watch the replay back.
And also, if you have any questions, just ask, and I will happily go back over things. I do talk stupidly fast. But yeah. So we have our listening recommendations, and underneath here, you could, if it wasn't George Harrison, you could change that filter to be something else. But this reduces kind of your like workload of having to go, okay, let's add this repertoire in, this repertoire in, this repertoire, etc., etc.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense so far, Sean?
Yeah, that does. Yeah, I like the idea of the. I'm not even sure what you call those status. Using the status function in the
select.
Yeah, that's it. Select function. That's it. In the databases to reduce having to, the need to recreate the same thing over and over again. That's very useful.
Yeah. So that's kind of would you have any other, just so that we can be as thorough as possible and you get as much as you want, what other properties, what other things would you like to see for each kind of piece of music that you're writing? What would you like to see?
Well, you've got the song name, BPM, so the tempo.
And so what we can do is we can set that as a number here. So what's the BPM for My Sweet Lord? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. Sorry. Just make it up. Who knows?
Anyway.
Yeah, that's also sort of okay. Yeah. And then, do you know what key it's in?
Well, I was playing it in F, but I think I was playing a rendition of it, so it might not originally be an F. But if I don't suspect I'm going to get a lawsuit on my hands for that. But also, I think
G and I would have been okay. Is that still?
Also, I think time signature would be useful.
So that one would be, so I always try to use select properties when it's kind of the same thing over and over again. So with a time signature, it would be the same over and over again. 2, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, whatever it might be. So I would actually use a select property again.
Have you just seen what's in chat?
Yep, it's in 4/4.
You said E major 120 BPM. I have no idea if that's right, but that's what Torrin said.
Right.
Thank you. E major
120 BPM.
So there we go.
Thank you, Torrin.
That's really helpful. Thank you. So, someone Googled it. Is there anything else you'd like to see on everyone?
That's it off the top of my head for the moment. Maybe something will occur to me, but that's the essentials, I'd say.
Cool. So we've done part one, which is the kind of repertoire. Now, obviously, you would have this much more complicated and beautiful. So I'm now going back to the page we had before. Every time you open inside of like a page inside of the database and you click out, you go to what's known as the full page view, which is why I prefer using full page view. And then I went out again to the building on stream, so we see that. So you can see the database in different types of views. So next up, well, you about some Weber?
Torrin did search it. He's just said just a quick search.
So I'm gonna clean this up. Dan, is there any questions that need answering? Any thoughts? Any feedback? Any, Jonathan, why didn't you do this? From Danny, because
No, at the moment it's looking pretty good. I'm just curious to see where it goes. Like it's very hard to comment or say anything when people are building like the bare bone structure. It looks pretty good, looks solid, and I can see where different things may go. Oh, you can see my little bobblehead on the screen. Yes, it's looking good.
Yeah,
looking good on my end.
I definitely like the idea of databases for songs actually, because I haven't actually with what I've created so far, it's just been based on examples. I haven't actually, although I intend to create something that's for full length songs. But that seems like a pretty good way to view it.
And also just as a point of, I like seeing things that aren't in table view. You can take this information and view it in different ways. So I'm going to hold down Alt, or is it Alt on the Mac as well? I don't know. I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to duplicate.
Oh, yeah, I learned that. Yeah, that's a sweet little shortcut.
That's the original table. That's going to duplicate the table, not duplicate.
I know. I realize. Thank you. This is why I'm so used to using linked. Okay, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to use a linked database.
As you started doing that, I was like, do I tell him? You just copy the link of the database.
I know, but I did it this way because it was like, and it bugged you.
And just as a very quick thought before we carry on, when it comes to, so I'm kind of like 20 steps ahead in my head. When you've got a lesson, and I'm assuming you're going to have some sort of an individual database, i.e. person-student database, together. If each individual has a progress of each lesson, how are you going to differentiate that? Have you got that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just thinking ahead.
I missed a database. Thank you.
I was looking at the list and I'm looking at the databases. I'm thinking, I don't know how you're going to do that.
So if you have a linked view, you can literally just drag and drop that like that. That is how you can do that and see it in different views. So this is really useful for like your students if they like visual views. Everyone learns slightly differently. And so you can just click on here and you can create either a board view, either a gallery view. It depends on how you like to see things.
Sure.
We have a question from Darren. He's asked, why would you build databases rather than pages, more searchable? Question mark.
So it's more searchable and it reduces kind of the overhead of editing things. If you have a separate page for each piece of music and then you want to edit it, add it to a student's dashboard, you then have to duplicate that page and then you have a lot of duplicated bits of information and data, which then kind of, it gets messy very fast. And for me, by using like databases, you can use relations, which we're going to get to very, very soon, and connect everything together in a way that it gives, I suppose, independence at the same time as showing as much as you need.
Yeah, the way I would think about it is databases are for data. So anything that you're going to use data for, put it in a database. Pages are for displaying that data. So the page in a database can be a display of other data, or you can have a page of databases with data in. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, that's how I would look at it. Databases for data.
Okay, so next up, I'm going to just move this down and just, but I get confused because I don't do it normally like this.
Making it look nice.
Yeah, see, I'm not using color because I am not going to do that live on stream because no.
Pound sign / color bracket orange bracket.
Right, I know how to do it, but I don't like the original like color and the text. I've done that all day today. So the next thing,
use the mic down. Anyway, carry on.
Do you want to take over? You can take over if you want, Danny. You are the. I am just the.
Fight.
If you've seen other streams before, that's what happens. Anyway, so
Jonathan, I'm reducing you to the bottom.
Oh,
fine. No, I'm sharing now. No, you go now. Go ahead.
Okay, you're now at the top. Carry on.
All right, cool. So inside of here, I'm going to now create another table. So / table. And this is going to be the students. I'm going to delete these. I know I could just change them, but I just have a problem with them. So you've got.
I personally leave them in and then change them into relations normally later.
I know, but I just don't.
That's preference. Everyone builds differently.
Yeah. So as part of the students, you may want to kind of have like their email so you can easily email them, especially with everything moving online. I find it really useful to have like an email, like a contact number, like what they enjoy, what their preference is, what kind of guitar they have, whether they have electric and acoustic. So all of this could be added here by just clicking here and adding a new property. So if we, we could have guitar type. Once again, it could be a select. So we have electric, acoustic.
I would imagine that would be a multi-select because some people would probably have more than one guitar, or am I just...
They normally, like with my experience, maybe Sean has a different one than me, but like they normally bring only one guitar, not all of them.
Fair point. But, I don't know. I don't teach.
You
guitar.
could have
like some people have more than one.
And you could have. So. Yes, I know. Spelling, shush.
No, Torin in chat. Have you? I don't know if you can see it. Jonathan, can you see it on screen, on one of your screens?
Just need 3 more people on the right hand side and you need the Brady Bunch. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, so we have students. That's just a very basic example. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the students to the songs. Okay. Or the repertoire. And that's called using a relation. So I'm going to put, so songs they're working on as an example. And I'm going to use the relational property.
I do that so much.
I'm not the only one.
It just goes off.
I'm going to connect to here. What this is going to do is going to create one here. And in a minute, it's going to create one there. No. So click on here, students. So if it was, say, for example, Danny, he's going to be working on My Sweet Lord.
Basics, please.
Huh?
Basics, please.
Nah. And so this gives you kind of a really, say, for example, like from my perspective, when I'm looking at the songs that I'm teaching, if I'm teaching multiple students the same songs, it's really handy to be able to see that. And so we've now got a link between the students that are like studying this and also kind of like, and also like the songs that the student is watching. So you can look at the data from different views and see it in different ways.
I like it.
And that's really useful. What do we do next? Lessons, do I need to connect? Yeah, I think I'll collect the lessons first. Do you have any input, Danny, or are you good?
No, it's looking good. Like my head is like 20 steps ahead. So I'm sort of like, yeah, this is how I do it. Yeah, this is how I do it. I'm sort of like, I'm waiting for the bits where I'm like, I'm curious to see how he approaches this.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear how you differ, if you do.
Yeah, I like at the moment it's very similar, but like I say, it's the framework, and I would build the same framework. I would definitely have songs as a database, students as a database. This lessons one is where we may differ. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I have just seen Svenny Lands put in chat. For me, databases are useful when I need some parts of the information on another area. When you get into managing data, using relations like we're using now and roll-ups are so powerful, and you can't do that on pages.
Yeah, that's above my skill set at the moment. But yeah, that's
Notion, I don't expect. Yeah, 2 weeks into Notion, I don't expect relations and roll-up.
No, we no, but yeah. It's quite a surprise. Like what you've done so far is really good. Like honestly, it was. I honestly, you'd been using it a bit longer.
No, that's yeah, pretty clear. Yeah, I thought one thing I was missing was a way to kind of gauge progress of students, and that's often what accounts for so much of kind of the morale failures, in students when they think, oh, I don't know how well I'm doing, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. If you can actually show them, well, this is how your progress looks, that would be really powerful. So that's kind of what I initially wanted. But yeah, you're opening my eyes a bit with the usefulness of this, and it seems just less of a workload already.
And also all your
templates.
And also another thing, like for what you've already done, you've already got like content one and etc. you've already got like loads of information already that you could just come in here, for example, like the songs you were doing, and drag and drop these in here straight away. So you would already have a lot of the content done. You've done a ton of work already. So you would just drag and drop them in and it would be beautiful and it would be lovely. So don't think you have to remake everything again from scratch. So I'm going based on like first initial thoughts. I can already, my brain's already going ahead and thinking, there's multiple ways of doing this one, and I'm intrigued to know what Danny would do in my case for lessons. I'm intrigued by this. So inside of
you're leading, so you go first, and I'll see if I match.
Cool. So the lessons, I call it lessons, but it's more like lesson notes. So this is kind of where you would get the personal input from like the student themselves. So it depends on how necessarily you'd want to do it, but this is kind of like the way I would do it. And so, you know, it's like lesson. Do you do like block bookings of lessons?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how I do it, it would be like lesson 1 of 10 of the first block booking. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so you would be able to have like, I don't know, like.
I'm going to pick you up on this because you said it earlier. Consistency. Why didn't you get rid of those and then create them?
Because I wanted to show that there are multiple ways of doing the same thing.
Bull.
It's true. I like showing different perspectives. Stop it.
I'm not going to finish off that word, but bull.
So you have the different block number. You're just being horrible now. Okay, so
it wouldn't be fun if I didn't pick you up on it.
No, it wouldn't be. I'm looking forward to doing it to you.
No, you have numerous times. It's only fair.
Really? I don't know what you're talking about. Inside of here, we're now going to connect the lesson notes to the student. And so to do this, we're going to put student, and it's going to be another relational. Have student, create relation. And then this lesson 1 of 10 could be, you know, Danny. And so this is where probably your workflow will come into play. Oh, let's make sure to.
I was there. I was about to. So please rename that.
Always make sure you rename your headings. I've seen that so many times, and it does stress me out. So I'm glad I did that one before Danny had
related to bracket, whatever bracket, and.
I think the worst one for me is when it's related to property, and I'm just like, no, please stop.
Yeah, that can get confusing.
Especially when you've done like 6 relation. So in some cases, I see people in, for example, what we've got now, lessons database. They'll relate lessons to students and lessons to relations and lessons to something else. And then when they go into all those like students and relate and whatever the databases are, like, what? Where's this going? When did this appear? When did I make this?
Yeah,
the question I have for you will change how I approach this, and I should have asked it before I started this because Danny's going to pick me up on this now. Do you do multiple songs with your students at a time, or do you do kind of one song at a time?
One song at a time, but the idea is to keep chipping away at the totality of all songs until they are rendered perfect.
Cool. Good. I'm relieved now. So inside of here, you have the different lessons, and you can link them to the students. And then, depending on how you want to do it, you can then link, you know, song they're working on. And again, a relation.
I'm nodding because this is how I would approach it as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the head shake.
I can't see the head shake, so it's like you're gonna know what.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
No, I can't. I can't see anything apart from my screen.
Blind.
Have you only got one screen, John?
Yeah.
I thought you had 2.
No. Do everything from a slightly wider screen. I used to have it, but then I just like the old screen was rubbish. But anyway, beside the point. So then you'd have the song that they're working on, the lesson notes, and then you would be able to see all of this information together. So now what I would do here for me, and how do I do it? Let me just double check. I've only just started teaching again after the kind of break. So you can see here, this is actually one of the lessons. Shush phone. This is one of I have my events as a meeting, and then inside of here, I pull in the lesson, which is filtered that says today. And so when I click this, it will automatically, 1 second here. One thing I would add here, I'm surprised I'm not picking up on it yet, is the date property, so that you know when the actual.
Yeah, that's useful.
So you can add that date in there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Like so.
Did you just say you put events in Notion, Jonathan?
I have the meeting tracker inside of Notion, which has the notes for the lesson, which means I still have my Google Calendar, but I put the meeting. Stop it. Being petty now. Just stop it.
Just to keep everyone up to date, this is something, Drew, good to see you. This is something that we spoke about last stream. Jonathan doesn't like putting events in Notion, or so he said, but now he does.
No, I don't I don't like just relying on Notion for events. I have it kind of duplicated. So one in my Google Calendar. Look, whenever the API, pray to the API gods, comes in, then it will all go straight into Notion automatically, and I won't need to care anymore. But until then,
you duplicate it.
I have, yes. Well, stop. Stop it. Anyway, so going back into
I'm going to chalk one up for me over there.
Yeah. Right. You won that one. Yeah. Sean, do you have any questions so far? Is there anything you don't like? Anything that confuses you?
Well, I'm wondering what does a student get to see of this? Because I imagine they don't get to see all of it.
So that would.
Good question.
So that would be dependent on you. What I normally do is share the page with lesson notes and allow some of the other stuff as public. It depends on how much information you put into those databases and information. It's up to you.
That is really good.
I'm not. Oh, Danny, get on with it then. Come on. I'm on the screen. I've come off the screen just to see your face.
No, this is.
Sounds like an evening with Frankie Howard. Together.
Yeah, I really like this. I think this is going to make my life a hell of a lot easier. So I'm very chuffed. But I think that would work alongside the because I do like I'm pretty won over by the idea of the progress Kanban board. But I like the idea of not actually having full pages that you have to just tailor each one for every single student. Having the pages on a shared database.
So, Danny, can you think of a way of having that progress per student? Because I can't right now. I'm sure there is. I'm almost positive there is, but I can't think of a way in the way I've set it up. Well, would you do it exactly the same way as me?
If I might just get in there first, quick. I mean, the thought that just occurred to me was having all the major content on the database as you've done it, and just having just a little token, just a page with nothing in it, but just the title of the lesson or the song that they can move around, because you don't have to edit loads of stuff that way. But that's what occurred to me. But I've got 2 weeks of Notion experience, so. Yeah.
I know there's a way, but there's multiple ways. That's the thing, isn't it? What's your thoughts, Danny, so far? So I'm trying to think of adding the progress in, because that's really important for students to see.
The issue you've got at the moment is essentially you've got one lesson which is going to have numerous different progresses.
Yeah, I know.
because of the way you set it out in the databases, which is why I was curious to see how you're going to take the lessons. Because essentially that because I was going the same route, and this is when I said like 20 steps ahead. I'm like, I'm curious to see how you're going to do this. I mean, I'm just thinking from like from a management standpoint, essentially each song is a project, right? And then each lesson is a task. And you can measure project progress using tasks the same way we do with everything else, whether that is a Kanban board, whether that is a formula roll up, whatever.
We could add the status. So so that we're not just talking, we could add a status, like song status, and have that as a select. So is that what you mean, Danny?
No, because that would still be specific to that lesson rather than like
the task.
It's not for an individual or for a song.
I would see the lesson as the task. So the lesson is the smallest denominator. In that lesson, we're going to study this project, which is the song, with this student, which is the area, if we use para terminology. And I would say like each time...
What? Pants terminology, come on.
Pants terminology, if you well, we don't have any...
We won't have any of that para stuff in here. Yeah, so that's how I would think of it, like a student as an area, a song as a project, and then a lesson as a task. That's how I see it in my head, which is where the three databases are that you've basically got. You've got repertoire as songs, lessons as tasks, and then you've got students as areas. That's how I would associate it. The only thing with that is it would mean you'd have a song as a template in the project's database, in the songs database. So every time a person starts with that song, the song data is saved as a template in the project's database. And then you can essentially duplicate, because it's a template, that song for that student. And then that student has an individual duplicated version of the song to then track progress with the tasks, i.e. lessons.
Go ahead. Demonstrate that. I've done loads. I haven't.
You just turn the songs into a template, because you've got the songs in the repertoire database.
Yeah.
Essentially, they are projects, right?
Yes.
So you can associate each song. So you may have like 10 of the same, like the song may be there 10 times, but they'd be related to each individual student. So the songs that Sean currently has would go into the templates of the database rather than like the database itself. But then obviously every song, there's going to be a lot of templates thinking about that through.
Yeah, that makes it more complicated.
It makes it more complicated one end, but then you've got the progress that works all the way through.
How about our progress databases relating to students and lessons? Oh, that's another database.
Oh. It doesn't matter about database, but still, how would you differentiate between the songs? Because you'll only have one song as a data point in that database. So that one database can't have numerous progresses for each student, because every time you add a student, you'll be adding a property, and that's way too big.
Unless you had that inside of the student, and then the student moves. So the lesson is where the progress is made. So like inside of the student, so the song status is, I know,
progress in your space.
Sorry?
Do you not have progress in your lesson space?
Yeah, the lesson notes, yes, they're there.
Oh, it's just in the lesson notes.
Yeah. And so the progress would be here. So I'm just going to call it, I'm going to make it really simple. Not spell it properly. So just started, in progress, learnt, and then mastered. I know this is a very simple version of yours, Sean, but I couldn't remember all of them, and no one wants to attempt to type that out.
Makes perfect sense.
And so you would inside of, I need to do this out loud just as a demo to make sure I get this right. So could be wrong here. I probably am.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, that's what that's how I would personally do it. So I'm sorry, I should be explaining as I'm doing it, but I would have it filtered here. I would create, so this would be a template, but I'm just putting it in Danny's because I forgot to put it in a template. So add a filter where the student contains Danny.
I assume you're going to self-reference that in the template.
Yes, I didn't want to explain self-referencing. I wanted to try and make it as simple as possible. But yes, you can use self-referential filters to make it like really
automatic.
Easy. Yeah, it would just be automatic. And so they're going through here. You've got My Sweet Lord. And as they go, so they've just started, you wouldn't really have the no progress. So I would personally hide that. They've just started this. And then as they go through each lesson, you would see the progress for them as they go through, if that makes sense. Alternatively, yeah, I think that's how I would do it myself.
So would you have, because doing it that way makes sense, and obviously it works, but with the lesson, so the lesson wouldn't be like a one day lesson, because essentially each one of those progress, I assume, is going to be like a couple of different lessons, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you kind of got like, that would be like your progress.
So I would kind of relate, like have it related to the lesson. So each lesson, so lesson 2. So let's just say, lesson 2 of 10. And this is with him. And then we would have the song that they're working on. And so we'd have that there. And then if they've made progress, it would be, moved into input. That's how I would do it. I know it's not very clean, but unless you have an alternative, I can't think of another better alternative. Danny?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm just thinking, because like with every lesson you've got, you're going to have another card. And if it takes them 10 lessons, you're going to have 10 cards in there, which is a lot of cards. I mean, yes, you can filter it out for whatever lesson you're looking for, but still, that's a lot of manual work, which you could just do in a page with the progress.
Or you could so what I would do with that is have a filter of, excuse me, I would have a filter for like the last month. So only see the lessons from the last month, because on average, that's how I would do it. Sean, your thoughts on kind of like, how does this feel? Does this work for your own workflow? If it doesn't, you can say it's fine.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, there's been a little bit that went over my head, but I can see the power of the. I've not really gone on to relations yet, so I've got some stuff to learn about that, but I can see that being really useful. Danny, you mentioned kind of indicating progress with roll-ups and or relations, or well, you may have. Did you?
Yeah. So I personally don't use a Kanban board at all in my space. That's just me. I associate a color with the amount of progress. So I mean, I have a red cross for haven't. So this is my project. I have a red cross for haven't started, then a red dot, orange dot, yellow dot, green tick, and that's based on a percentage. So if I have 10 tasks, because that's an easy number, and I haven't done anything, it'll be a red cross. If I've done 1, it's 1 out of 10, and I'll use the roll up from the tasks into the project. Then it'll be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, and depending on what that percentage is, the color will change. That's how I do it with roll ups and formulas. But if you want to see a Kanban board, it doesn't quite work the same.
No, that's how I would do it if I wasn't Kanbaning the view.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I can see this as being pretty useful.
I was going to say there's a couple of different ways you could go about doing the progress. It depends if you want it to be automatic and how you want people to see it. I mean, with this, you can see the lesson, obviously there, the person, and the instrument they're playing. And the benefit of being like showing it like this is you can see. So if you were to do another lesson for another song in a lesson, you'd be able to see what song they did for that lesson and where their progress is. But yeah, I've got lots of different ideas, but I think it's going to take a while to like flesh out in my mind. So I don't. Great to do on screen.
Trying to do that whilst also doing this at the same time.
Definitely something you're going to have to play with, like off stream, after stream. But yeah, so I'm curious as to why you prefer Kanban. Is it just like the dragging, and is it the process of moving that thing across? Like why?
Well, maybe there's a novelty factor. It's fairly new to me, but it seems quite visually appealing. You mentioned, well, Jonathan mentioned or you did potential problem with, you know, if you've mastered you know, let's say 30 different songs. Yeah, with my system, they'd just be a row of, you know, a column of 30 long, tapering down the page. You'd have to scroll down to see. So yeah, filtering per month is useful. But yeah, Kanban, I don't know why, it just seems a good way to visualize progress. I think that's often the problem, visualizing progress for guitar students. Is they very easily get dispirited.
Yeah, so I personally like the colors, mainly for the way that I work. Is I can look at my calendar view for all of my projects, and I can see lots of different colors all over the place. And in my head, what I don't know how it would work. This is what I'm envisaging: is each of those songs essentially are different projects. So each of those songs will have for me anyway, would have a different color associated to them. Or a progress bar if that's what you wanted to do. But that's how I would prefer to see it. And I don't, obviously, your Kanban board, so that's slightly different.
Sorry, go on.
I'm intrigued. Can you show that? Because I'm not 100% sure how that would solve the problem.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
That's what I said at the start. It's like I don't know how it would work, but that's how I would see it. Because I guess I could go into my space and like show you what I mean by like project progress. Have you seen my space, Sean?
No, not live. I've seen. You made I know that you made a video on gauging progress, but it's I've not yet watched that one.
Right. So I will now try and work out where I'm throwing everything. For those in the chat that haven't seen my space, you are now going to see it with all of the rubbish that's going on. So for those of you that don't know, I've literally just finished doing my dissertation, so I'm like behind on a lot of tasks.
Oh yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. It's yeah. I enjoy the research, I enjoy the learning, but I don't enjoy the write-up. Yeah, so a very quick, like, I guess, tour. Tasks I've got to do.
It does look familiar, by the way, actually. I have seen a video with your space.
Yeah, so these tasks, I would, like, in my mind, I would associate to lessons. Again, like, I don't know how this would work going all the way through, but I would associate these with lessons. And then like the calendar, you could show what you want. For me, this would be like a calendar view of all the lessons coming up that you're teaching, because I use this calendar instead of Google. Again, that's my preference. Jonathan uses Google. You may use Google. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I would then see all of the lessons here. Thank you, Torin. Just saying you congrats in chat. Yeah, so I would have all the lessons here and then relate that to like the students, whatever that is. Then what's going to be the easiest way to show this? Probably we'll go in here to start with.
Ooh.
Me going around my space has just given you an idea, hasn't it? I will carry on, and then you can think through that. So you can see this is my project. So this is active projects. So this could potentially be your songs. This is me just like brainstorming. And then I have my progress, which you can see as a formula. And then I have the amount of tasks left. So I can see, I mean, these are posts. So a lot of these have like 1 or 2 tasks. You see these ones I haven't started. They've got like 4 left, 3 left, 2 left, 1 left sort of thing. And these are all tasks. So these would be in your space lessons. For me, they're tasks. And these would be songs. and the project would be associated to the student or area. So this is LinkedIn. So this is a LinkedIn. So this could be person 1. This is the project, i.e. song, and this is the lessons, and this is a different person. This could be the same song, and that's what I was saying about in that projects database. But it does mean if you had templates for it, which I would, that would probably be the way I'd go about it. There would be a lot of them, which is what I was saying to John. But yeah, this is it, and then I can see all my progress. These are filtered for certain views, so you can see that one's done, that one's not quite done because that's now. There you go. So this is a green dot. I go back to my home, and then that's a tab bar, which I have explained how to make. Essentially, it's a global block with a load of emoji links. There we go. So this is the task. So you can see this is the event. This is literally what we're doing right now. So I'm going to tick it off and say we've done it because we're doing it right now. Going to go back into projects. And then, so this is what I was saying earlier about pages and databases. This is in a database because you can see all the properties. But I'm using the databases here in the page to show loads of stuff. Where is it? There you go. So that progress is automatically updated to a green tick. And that's how I deal with progress. If I go into YouTube, this will show you a little bit more of an overall look at progress and things going through. This could, so in my space, area would be a student. So YouTube, instead of being YouTube, it would be a student. And then you'd get projects would be all the songs they're working on. Tasks would be all the lessons they're doing. For me, I would have notes related to tasks because that's the way my system works. And then as we scroll down, you can see all my projects. These are obviously all done because they're published videos, but you can see they're green. Oh, a little bit of a tease of who's coming on stream. And then you've got, so yellow, I've worked on that. Red, I've done one on that. I've done one on that. You can see an overall view, sort of what's going on. That's how I view progress. But obviously that's doing it that way. The main limitation is each song is a project, and that would mean that every song you need either a template for, unless you have. Could you have a database of? I'm talking to John here. Could you have a database of a database for templates of songs?
What I was thinking, for each song, you'd have a series of things you'd have to do to learn the song. And so my thoughts would be, we would have kind of it would almost be like I hate this, subtask database, where they would be the action steps for each song, and they would have to be generalized to make it work. Section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, being able to repeat this, being able to do, for example, I'm trying to use
checkpoints.
Yeah, checkpoints is part of it. That progress bar you had, the Kanban view, you would have that as each mini task or subtask. Your project management, your drag and drop interface thing that you use and we both use. I stole from you.
I see where you're going. So essentially you've got your progress, and when you've hit that milestone, that checkpoint, whatever it is, you can tick it off, and then that progress goes through, and you can have lessons, and in that lesson you work on whatever that thing is. Yeah.
And so inside of the song, would it be inside the song or would it be inside the lesson? No, it'd be inside the lesson.
But again, you still got the same issue of the song being the project. Because if the song's the project, you're still going to have tons of templates. I mean, if you've got 50 songs, that's 50 templates in a project's database. That's a lot of stuff, because they've all got their own data. So you would need a database of songs, which you've already got. And essentially each one of those is going to be a template in a project database. So you could use the alt drag and drop from the songs database, because you've already got the database, don't you? So you can use alt drag and drop and use the database as a database of templates. because it's already a page. You can drag and drop it into another database, like transfer the databases over, depending on the properties that you've got and duplication and the rest of it, or you could just drop it out and drop it in. So it dumps the properties and then refreshes properties because the page content's still going to be the same. And then if you've done that, you've then essentially you've got a template in the project's database, but the template list, instead of it being in the project's database, is in its own database.
Unless the actions are actually in the students section, and then it would assign. So when they're assigned it, so inside of a student portal, I'm thinking out loud here, so this may not work, but inside of a student portal, you would have a series of like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 mastered, and that would be inside of the like student area. So then it's for each individual student instead of it, and then you could add it in to. So underneath there, you would have like the project or the song, and then the lessons would be primarily for notes related to, like, it's like, hey, this is what we did today, this is what happened, this is what we worked on, you know, you finished stage 1, you finished stage 2, you finished it. Like, it's more of a note-taking format with the lessons then, and then the progress is marked on the student page. The tasks are listed out as pages, dragged and dropped, well, out and dropped into each song, and then you would have a formula property which shows that up. It would still like wipe out the Kanban view, but you could make a really nice visual thing of you've made, you know, 70% progress through this song. That your face went, oh, that's actually quite a good idea. But that's how I would possibly do it. So then that way we don't have to keep having the changes are on a student basis. And then each time they start a new song, we have a template button, which we just boop, we boop the template button and it populates the process again. Does that make sense to you, Danny? We will translate this for English, Sean.
Don't worry, I'll be watching this.
Half listening and half reading the chat. So from the last like sentence that I heard, you're making a template button of the song, and then that is going to have a list of tasks.
Not the song itself.
Song extension.
So like, hang on. So yeah. So what we would have is, you know, get back on the stream again.
Yeah.
So you would have song stages, and then you would do. I know I did it a really long way. I don't know why I did it that way, but I'm thinking out loud. Okay, stage 1.
Name control shift 9.
Yeah, I know. Hey.
By the way, for Torin and Roxanne that are in chat, so Torin suggested a student to be a project. I don't think that would work because the student's going to have numerous songs. So, like, the student doesn't finish unless they just like leave, they just stop learning. Like a project has an end date, whereas a student doesn't, which is why I don't think that would quite work. And then for Roxanne suggested about a global block, having global block as writing information through, and that could be useful. So when you change something on this, but that would apply like everywhere. I'm not quite sure where that would work.
Yeah, so we have like different stages. This would be a template. So new song start, you know, then all of these would be brought in, basically. Oh, go away. I really wish they'd stop doing the pop-up bar. Seriously. Anyway, so basically there, and then underneath here, we would have the songs, repertoire. I know. Wow, at least they know. Do they have the repertoire?
For Frederick in chat, yeah, that's what John and I were sort of like going through. Basically, was just saying like can't have different progresses for the same area.
Yeah. So I would have it like this. How would you assign it to the?
That's why I was confused, which is why I wanted you to build it.
Yeah, that's still not going to work. Darn it.
This is the nice one. I mean, the ways of doing it, but they're not nice ways of doing it.
Yeah, I think nice ways instead of overly formula, cry in a corner every time you want to update it. You're going to be spending a good couple of hours doing so if you're not experienced.
I'm trying to think. Like in my space, I don't think I have. Actually, tell a lie. I have. It's not really the same though. That wouldn't work. So at the moment, like in my space, I have a person, like a client, and then I have progress for that client, and that client's inside the business database, the business area of the area's database. But they are essentially their own thing. So I don't know how that would work, because you're still going to have the same issue with the song being the project and there being tons. So, I mean, like I said, instead of putting the song into templates... What? Were you laughing at?
I was reading it as well. I'm just trying to work out. Yeah.
Oh, I'll bring it up on screen for those watching on the replay, because I'll be like, whoa, what are they reading? Instead of putting the song into templates, you can put a link to the song page of the database in the template, so you can make changes in song only. Yeah, that's what I was suggesting about having the song database in the template of the projects page, and using like the alt drag to drag it over, because essentially you'd have a database for like the templates. So instead of having the list of templates in your project's database, you'd have a database for that. But still, it's not nice.
No, and you make changes one place, you have to, yeah. It wouldn't be not. It would be no different than having a page.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only.
Yeah, correctly, exactly. That's what you're doing. You're just duplicating a page. This is a fun one.
I know. I love it.
You with a pretty problem.
Sorry?
I'm glad I've provided you with a pretty problem.
Does the rest of it like work and make sense? Like the lessons, the students?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's, I mean, a fair bit of it's gone over my head, but the essential layout, yeah, it's certainly time saving, and I'm very glad for that.
I mean, I imagine what I'll probably do is drag the page into my space and just dump on a free template, so you can take it and duplicate it, save you rebuilding it, and you can discover and stuff.
That'd be wonderful. Thanks.
John, I assume you're okay with me doing that?
Yeah.
Already said it's okay now. That's fine. That's fine.
If not, I'll just duplicate it into my space anyway and then put it up.
You'd be able to remake it in seconds anyway.
I'll just look at the stream and go, yeah, done.
Is there an app for you, Sean, so that like if you want me to run through a specific thing that was a sticking point for you?
No, it's difficult to name. I have so many unknown unknowns that it's difficult to even name the things that I don't know that I ought to. But I'm on a bit of a tangent. I wonder how do you get music notation or diagrams into your pages?
Images or PDF.
Yeah. Or yeah, do you use PDFs, and is there a way you kind of mark them up?
So what I often do actually, because I use Zoom for my lessons, so basically I screen share what we've worked on.
Yep.
And then mark it and draw on it, and then I take a screen grab of that, just a print screen, and paste the image directly in, so then they can refer back to it. That's what I do when it comes to marking. A good example of that in. Let's have a look. That doesn't include her in it because I don't know. Danny can stall for me now.
Yeah, I'm looking in chat. So Frederick, what you've done with the master's database, just thinking that through, if you have like songs, lessons, and students, so what we're saying, so the way I see it is master progress database relates to songs, lessons, and students. Each student will have her self-reference filtered to the progress each lesson with each song. So I don't know how you're thinking of doing the progress. If you're thinking of doing the progress with the stage, so I like in my head, what would be like the the point? You've got a master database. You're linking the song, the lesson, and the student as relations going along. What would be that point? Like, what is that? Is that just one project? Would that be like one project having a person related, a lesson related, or the lessons related to that one project with the student, and then have the progress through that way? Is that what you're thinking? So instead of having the progress for the lesson, you've just got the progress, the song as a relation rather than the progress for the song. That could potentially work, thinking about it that way, having just like a list. So a project having a related to student, a related to song, a related to lessons. I'm not quite sure how. Sorry?
That's already there, isn't it? Pretty much. Oh, it's vanished.
Let's come back. Yeah, that's what he's thinking apparently.
There's an example of kind of like it's a rubbish one. That's the closest one I find.
Fine.
When it comes to marking when I'm doing a chord and just notes on top, I just use a screen capture it, and then send that to them, like as part of on a page, as if it's just like a web page saying, "Hey, practice this, work on that." I cannot draw properly and write like that, so I just use text and cheat. But like circle and do all that joyous stuff, but I would spend too much time trying to make it align perfect. But forget it.
Perfect circle. No, that's a good idea. Yeah, screenshotting. Excellent.
And then you can embed. You can literally drag and drop any PDF, any image. You can literally just drag the PDF and drop it on there, and they can download it. You'll want to make sure it's not an embedded PDF. If it's an embedded PDF, they can't download it. They can only view it.
Oh.
So it needs to be a file itself. And to add a file, you can come down here, use /file, and then you can upload a file directly.
Gotcha.
And they can come in and then download that file.
Like it.
And the same with a video. You can embed a video. You can upload it. If you have like the personal, is it called Personal Pro now, Danny? I think it is. Like the Personal Pro, the paid Notion account. He's gone again. It's fine.
Yeah, I've got.
Personal Pro.
Yeah, you can just upload it, the file directly, which is what I would normally do.
Okay. Yeah.
It's uploading it to YouTube and then embedding it, and then less steps.
No, I like it. That's a good idea.
So I'm just looking through the idea that Frederick's put in. I'm looking at the other thing over there. That's why I'm like, I'm away with the.
So did you say with that file is that just a link to a file that they can download from elsewhere?
As in this image you can see on the screen.
Yes. So when you did the /file thing,
let me. I can choose a file. Hopefully you can't see my. Well, there's a PDF here. That's perfect. So I'm embedding a file right now. I'm uploading a file, which is literally just there, and then they come down here and just click it, and it will open in a new browser. Then they can download it.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's really quick and easy. And if you want to make it really clear for them to actually download it, you can just come in here and click rename. Download your song for this week, or download worksheet for this week. And then they can literally just click the button. I can't show you because it will open it in a new tab and you won't see all that. But you just click it, they can download it, and they're happy.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest differences between the way I've been envisioning this is that in my head beforehand, I had the idea that I'd make things that were individual specific. But yeah, I'm just getting a feel for what it would be like to have everything accessible by multiple people. Just a single thing that's accessible by all my students. It's I think there are advantages to that outweigh the disadvantages.
He's just concentrating so hard right now.
I muted my mic, okay, because I didn't want you to hear all my tapping going. Yeah. Yeah, you've been on my deaf side, so I haven't actually heard what was going on. So what what were you saying? Repeat what you just said. That was probably really bad on stream. I'm like, what?
That's right. I was just saying in a nutshell that the biggest difference between the way I'd been envisioning things and what you guys have been speculating about has been the fact that in my mind everything had been kind of making stuff for an individual student, making another thing for an individual student, and then another thing, and so on, rather than just making one thing that different students can access. And that seems the superior choice, really.
Well, it just means that you're not making everything for each student. And what I think John and I, we both have in our heads is to have a student dashboard. So because all the data is stored in databases, you can just filter that for student is Danny or John or whatever. So they only see the things that are specific for them.
Wow. Yeah.
So you can just share their page to them. You can have all the data in the background in all the databases, but it's filtered for their name. So they can just see the projects they're working on, the lessons they've done. What else did we have? The songs, the lessons, and yeah, we don't need student because obviously it would be them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, I didn't know filters could do that, so that's brilliant.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my space, or share my space. I'm going to share. Let's move over there. Otherwise, we're going to get the infinite zoom and let my computer work itself out. The downside of having two different size screens. There we go. Right. So what I've done is I very not so sneakily built a projects database down here. What I've done is I've related the three databases we currently have. So we've got the songs database, which is the repertoire, student database, which is just me in it, and then the lessons. This is what I believe Frederick had. I assume you're saying your name right. I apologize if not. But yeah, so the project would be potentially any. So you can associate like a student with different projects. So we can have. Let's come into here. Me. So this is like one of my projects. Let's say that's two more projects, and I can have song. We only had one song in here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the song there. And I'm going to be really creative and go song 2.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yep. And so if you didn't notice, I've created song 2 in here. So you can see I've actually created it in another database from the projects.
I have to say this because Sean's reaction, like we both know that song 2 is actually a song. Danny didn't know that was a song. He just put song 2.
Really? Oh, right. I thought
that was an actual song.
You recognized it when you heard it.
That was complete fluke. 100% complete fluke.
Oh, you got to YouTube it now. Blur. You'd recognize it in a second, surely.
I'm going to have to write that down.
Sorry.
If you've seen any of my tutorials, it literally goes like task 1, task 2, task 3, project 1, 2, 3. And that's what I went. I was like, we've already got one song. Let's just go song 2.
That's the magic number. I don't think there's a song, any other number that I know of.
Oh, I was going to say the next one was going to be song 3. So if that was one of those, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, a famous Blur hit.
So if we go, actually, would I even need that? Oh, we'll leave that there for the moment. So I can have a lesson in here. Let's go, lesson 1, whatever that was. That was pretty cool. Song 2. So yeah, so this project would, you can name the project whatever. But then all of the lessons that you do would be here. This would be the student. This would be the song, and then you can have. Yeah, Torrance just said, yeah, it's the Blur. And then you can have the. Exactly what I meant. Just add one more property that say select for progress amount. Just did that. Yeah. So then you've got the progress here. So you can see what the project, like the student for the project, all of the lessons. So you'd have lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And your calendar would be this. And because it's related to the project here, you can see what that's related to. And actually, you wouldn't even need this because you can turn this into a roll up
of the project, connecting it to the student.
Yes.
But what would the project's purpose be? Because what would you name that project?
That bit I'm not sure about.
Because that caught me up. But apart from that, I love it. I do like that. That's really good. I just am so sad because I'm like, there's another database and I want to keep the databases as few as possible. But that's beside the point. Stop it. But yeah.
You could turn this into a roll-up as well.
Yes.
Because
the thing is that makes the lesson notes kind of pointless.
No, because the lesson notes would be all of your lessons. So that would be your calendar, wouldn't it? So you can look at it and go, okay, so actually if I turn this into a calendar view now instead of me talking through it, that would make sense, wouldn't it? I'm on stream, why not just show it?
On the other foot now.
Yeah. Let's delete that because I actually, let's not delete that in case I need to go back to it, just in case. And the name of each entry is just a dummy. Yeah. I mean, you could put a deliberate name for it, but yeah, it's for tracking data. So you can have lesson 1 and then like lesson 2, lesson 3. This could be, let's just duplicate that very quickly.
There are other dates there. There are other lessons. It's just I haven't.
Yeah, I saw you didn't put the date in. It's up there. There we go. And then you'd associate it to a project. Let's just, okay, we've got an untitled project. Project 2, because we've already got project 1. Yes, so we've now got, actually, let's get rid of the untitled out of this one. Oh, come on. So now we've got 2 projects. Project 2 has, why? Projects 2 student is.
You need to change the project to the roll up so that it actually assigns to the student. You're just saying name at the moment, Mr. I know everything, Mr. I
don't even know where you. Oh, it's in the thingy, right? Yeah, it's because I didn't finish the roll up because someone started talking, wasn't it?
Oh, so it's my fault you got it wrong.
It's the name of the project, isn't that what I wanted?
No, be the
oh no, it's not because it's a student. Yeah, I was thinking of something else. There we go. Because I got halfway through making that one and then I thought about making the roll up for that one. That was what it was. There we go. Right, and then go properties. I assume you'd want to see the student that you're teaching for the lesson.
Yeah.
So for this one, you've got lesson which is related to untitled. So let's add a name to this project. Project 1, woohoo! And then that should show. Oh no, it's not because that's not the person. What is that student? It's this one. It's project 2. Oh, get it in the right box. There we go. I feel like we should probably change. So that's lesson 1 for project 2. That's lesson 1 for project 1. Does that make sense? Jonathan's shaking his head. Sean's nodding his head.
It does make sense, but it just.
It doesn't look nice. Let's add another student in. John, you're now a student. Okay, Jay is a student because my computer was like, nope. Right, where's the students database? Let's bring this one.
The progress log. But then at the time, like, I'm confused at like I know that practically the projects is just so that we can do what we want to do, but like it just feels unclean, if that makes sense.
How so unclean?
I know.
Is it just not aesthetically pleasing?
No, it's because you can't do the relations in the database and make it automatic like our systems are, but it doesn't suit. Is that where you're going, John?
Yeah, it's just manual labor. like more work.
Well, the only bit of manual labor is this progress, but that's the Kanban board, which is what Sean wanted.
But then wouldn't it be a Kanban board for each song?
Well, I don't you know, I don't want to insist on Kanban if there's a superior option. I'm not so.
We're now just playing semantics now. We are doing Notion semantics now. Sorry.
But this is the point. We're getting into the nitty gritties. Yeah. I mean, you could. I guess you could make that. Could you make that progress? Because you could still have like the tasks as the progress, which is what you had originally thought of, John.
Yeah. Having
the lessons as the progress. But again, how do you measure that as progress? Is it 10 lessons done? Like what would your checkpoints be? I mean, you could have another database that has checkpoints on it. I mean, just add in another one.
Yeah.
I mean, this works at the moment for like a calendar because I mean you can have lesson 1 for the person, and I mean if you wanted to, you can show their progress because the progress is for properties, and then we want progress in there. Nice. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. This is something that, see, because I haven't built it, I haven't got like everything else that's going on. Where is that progress coming from?
I'm just enjoying this a minute. I'll just let you figure it out.
Do you actually know where that's coming from?
I'm going back over to it because I'm not on it. Hang on. That's on the lesson.
That's the actual progress on the lesson. That's not the roll up. Okay. Yeah. I forgot you put that in there. I was like, where's the progress coming from?
You would have to add another roll up. We don't have a roll up on lesson.
Yeah. I had the roll up in my head already done. Yeah. So let's change this progress. Yeah, we can leave the name the same. And then we go projects is what we want. Name, progress, show original. Have we not got any progress on this? No, we don't have any progress on this one, but we got progress on the next one. That's good. What are you humming about?
I mean, it does work. It is functional. Like it's functional.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
But there's a but coming.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of another way, and I'm going to go away, and I'm going to just try and figure out another way.
But this is one of those things. Like this is a use case in Notion that I haven't had to come across. It's not something I've had to troubleshoot. So I'm troubleshooting it live with everyone else watching all my fumbles. Which is kind of why I brought you on stream, John, because I assumed you had sort of like sorted this. I was expecting just a finished solution.
Well, I do, but my progress is. I track progress differently. I track progress in the lessons, and it's a note in the lessons, and then I review like the lesson notes. So my main focus is in the lessons. I write stuff inside the lessons, relating it to the song, relating it to etc., and then when it's complete, I mark it as complete. What I did with the progress is how I would personally do it.
So how did you track progress? Obviously, so you were saying in the lesson note, and this is a lesson note, correct?
Yes.
And then you would have inside here of all of your progress.
Yeah. So I'd have what happened, what went well, did we finish? If the song was completed, it would be marked as song completed. It would just be a general bit of information. If I was to want to see repeated, because most of my students don't care, even though they should, but they don't. And so if I was to do it, it would be the same, like with the multiple lessons in that Kanban view. I would have it even, and then just have it filtered for the month. That's what I would do, because it has that automatic kind of stuff going on. It's not perfect.
Yeah, I would like that.
So
I wouldn't like having all those lessons in the Kanban.
But you don't like Kanban anyway.
That is also true. That is also true.
What is Kanban, out of interest?
There's a couple of reasons. One, it's less automatic. That's the biggest one for me. Two is I just don't like the look of it. The scroll bar at the bottom, it's not aesthetic. And it is mainly like the manual use of. That's just like my preference. I don't like dragging it across. I like to see, as you saw in my space, I have calendars, and I just want to go, right, where am I at?
Yep.
But again, that's like my preference. And with the Kanban board, I would have to. So I used to use it, but I'd have to drag things across. So whenever I did something, so everything in my space revolves around tasks. So I'd tick all my tasks off. And I found that if I was ticking the task off, I then had to remember to go back to the project to move the progress across. And like that's numerous clicks. I want to just go tick and then forget about it and the progress be done for me. But
my original idea was to give the movement of all the pages in the columns to the responsibility of the students, so that they'd have some agency over their progress, and they take some just basically handing them some responsibility and some grand overview of what they're doing.
If you're going to leave that to them, you could just have the song in there, and they can. No, that wouldn't work, because then you'd need a select property for the song per person. I mean, you could still do that. It just means the song would have a property for every student.
Yeah, that could be heavy duty.
You wouldn't really need to see it. The only time that would really affect you is if you wanted to see. Actually, no, it wouldn't affect you, would it? Because
the thing is, there are plenty of songs in the world. So there are more songs than there are guitar students. So I'm thinking that if you just widen the selection of songs that you potentially teach, then you wouldn't have the problem where you've got 30 students learning one song, perhaps.
True, but still, when you've taught someone a song, it's going to be there in Notion archived. Whether you if you delete it, it won't be archived. But then you're deleting like lessons and progress, which obviously you don't really want to do. So then, if you were to teach someone, say, a year later, that song, you'd still have that data saved, which is still sort of comes up.
Sorry.
Was that a good all, bad all?
Like, you're talking about the problem with my lesson, the idea of having like the lessons being the progress is related to kind of that there's a ton of stuff showing up. What if added the created property and then have a auto tick formula? So after 14 days, it ticks, which auto archives them after X amount of days.
Okay, but still, that's just filtering views. That's just filtering for views.
I know.
That's one of those I've got to scratch. I'm going to put half a plaster on it and just wait until I get a better one.
I know, but it's still and
if we're gonna go like that, I could say, well, you could add this formula in so that you get this filter box, or you could add this formula in for that filter box.
I want a simple formula.
Sorry?
I was looking for a simple formula. We could go as advanced as we like, but
no, I mean, you could just use a filter for it. Svanny Land's put in chat, what is teaching in the lesson? Is there only one song related to it? Yeah. So actually, so John, with yours, you say lesson. Like, in my mind, a lesson is an hour slot.
Yes, that's section.
Okay. So Yeah. So how do you track progress then? So you've only actually got progress for the lesson rather than for the overall song learning.
Yeah, that's
Okay, that makes sense now. I was like, how do you even see that then? But yeah, so you have like lesson progress rather than overall song progress.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, yeah, now I understand why I was like confused. Okay, so yeah, so in my opinion, Sean's progress is better than your progress.
I agree with better, but I haven't found a clean way of doing it. So,
Well, that's what we're working on.
yeah, precisely. Come on, Mr. Genius. Come on, I'm the sidekick here.
I love how you call me a genius. I'm like half your age.
Are you? You are not half.
No, I was being insulting. I think you're. I don't even. You're not 30. What are you, like 28? Is that bad?
I think I'm
Is that
29.
what I guess?
Does that make you 14?
Yeah. No comment, Mr.
Well,
Pan.
mentally, mentally, I'll agree with that one.
Someone who literally just added an extra S on there so it could say pants. Anyway.
Yes. Mike's just put something in chat. Wouldn't student be the focus? One to many, one student, too many songs, one, then student, two lessons, already song to lessons. Yeah, like the student is the focus.
Yeah.
The student is the main focus. The student is the area, and everything's got to be related to the student. Which, like, I think this is the best solution we've got so far.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, the process. What would the processes be when you get a new student? Essentially, you would start a project. So this project could be, I don't know. I'm just going to abbreviate. Oh, I did not know that. Dragon Ruzik is Homesick Mac. I did not know that. Homesick Mac's in the Crowdcast streams on a Friday. Had a recording season for my guitar lessons, so I'm late. That's fine. But I'll watch the replay later on. Yes, there's lots of bits and bobs going forward, backwards and forwards, troubleshooting lots of things. So that's another guitar teacher. So what's that? Torin, Homesick, both of you. God, I'm feeling left out. All of you understand guitar stuff. Right, so that would be the project, and you can have different projects. That's all of the lessons, and you can have a roll up of. You can have a formula that's fine. Progress could be there. Progress can be arbitrary. So when you go into the individual,
unless it's term, if it was term time, that could be the term, and each term is a project, and then you would mark how much progress they make during the term. And then you could look at how many, so that could be actually the term. Instead of calling it a project, it could be a term. Like the term time, like term 1, term 2, term TEM. So that could be a way around it. And so the progress is shown over the term, or the blocks of lessons. Sean, am I making some English sense here?
Yeah, that does make sense. Elaborate.
So I'm thinking module. Like from a student's perspective, essentially you've got lessons, and you can associate a module with the lessons. So lesson 1 to 10 is module 1, which you could have in term 1. You could just call it term 1, or term 2. Essentially, the projects would be a group of lessons. Is that where you're going, John?
Yeah, but every student learns differently and at a different pace, so you couldn't have separate modules. Term would work better because term is a period of time, and so during that time you could track each lesson and the progress they make, whether and how they felt about the lesson as well. If you wanted to get really granular, like how did you feel at the end of the lesson, like having a frequent review at the end of your lessons, like how do you feel it went today, what do you feel you could do better next time, what went well, what went bad, like etc., and then each of that could be tracked inside of the lesson, and then that could be then pulled out into going further back, and that might be a progress possibility.
With your lessons, Jonathan, I'm thinking with the progress tracking. Oh, I'm in the thing.
Calendar. The calendar.
Yeah. So would you put like key takeaways and things as a text property in here so you could roll it up for the term?
Yeah.
Because then you could roll up all of their like keynotes, key point, key takeaways and stuff, and you could roll that up in the term.
Yeah. And then I would have a very simple red, orange, like, or red, yellow, green on how they felt at the end of the lesson. How did you feel the lesson went? Do you feel confident? Do you feel like you know what you're going to work on? Do you feel X? Do you feel Y? How are you feeling? Kind of similar to what Marie does with her daily, like a daily planner, daily journal. It would be kind of similar to that. And then you could roll that property up in the term. That way you can see multiple types of progress, because every student progresses at different rates, and what might be good for one student may feel bad for another. So that gives you that custom, that ability to be customizable. I wouldn't put feedback as a text property. I'd put it as a select property, but you know,
I've put it as that way you can just change it to whatever, wherever.
But then yeah, I think that's what I would have it as.
I mean, I've put it as a text because, I mean, one, it was the first one there, and two, because it's just easier to type in. Where are we going? Yes, we're coming here.
To do it properly, you would want it as a select, because it would be a certain set of 3. Because then what you would do in a roll up is count how many bads, how many goods, how many mess, and then you could actually show that in information. Just and being thorough. I wasn't being orange. Yeah.
Where's a straight face?
I'm looking for the emoji you'll choose.
Oh, that'll do.
Or down. Yeah.
That'll do.
I would have done it the other way around, because then you could actually like have it as a slice and just select it. Forget it. Stop it. Sorry. Oh no, you couldn't. You could do it.
It's a formula slice. That's easy. It doesn't matter what way round you do it.
I know.
Just use rejects, replace all.
And George just like, yeah, sure.
I'd reject that. Or you could even just use a contains. But anyway.
I'm just
what? I swear I made a roll up. Yeah, wrong database. Idiot. I was like, what? Scroll too far. Feedback. Go. And so this would be
so term 1. Yeah. Beautiful.
There we go. And just because I just don't like that. Are you the same with me, John? You've just got to like, there we go.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, so now you've got the progress of like all the lessons going along. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. So you can see like overall how they felt, what they were doing, and that feedback could be literally anything. So that's nice. That's feedback from the lesson. So then you've got progress there, and then you can associate that with the progress over the term from wherever they started to wherever they finished. What are you thinking?
You talking to me?
Well, either.
Well, it seems good to me so far.
Nice. Like, obviously, you probably like duplicate this and go, I like this, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And like in a week's time, it'll look completely different.
Mission works.
Well, I'll try to make changes that don't improve things, but that's unlikely to happen for some time. I need to know more.
Wait, it's not a case of improving things. It's a case of like making something that suits you. Like, so some of these roll-ups, you might be like, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. But it's
definitely worthwhile trying out all sorts of ideas. I think that's probably going to be my approach, just to experiment with every little suggestion and see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, thank you so much for the ideas so far.
Yeah, and that's literally it. It's like putting the ideas out there, because it's something that I like to sort of like talk about in my head. Is you don't know what you don't know. So I feel like this stream is sort of like, this is loads of stuff you could do, take it or leave it, sort of thing. Svannyland's just put a good point in chat. If you do it in the projects, it will not be different from each student. Yes, that's true. But the student would be on their lesson anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so you would have, so it'd be term 1 student, like so each student would have their own project or term, as the case may be here. So it would be, he's working on this for this term. You know, I mean, honestly, you would probably not use the name property. You would have that as automatically being set as contains and like term, and then have like a date format between the term dates. That would be a more...
What are you talking about? Hold up, rewind. What?
Hmm?
What are you on about?
Well, if you do it in project, I'm assuming he means the term. Svanland, if you correct me if I'm wrong, it will...
I thought you were talking about me. I was like, where are you on? Okay, carry on. You were talking about what was going on in chat.
Oh, sorry, were you somewhere else? Sorry, carry on.
Keep talking. Keep talking. I was just like, what? Yeah.
You did mention his comment.
Yeah, I mentioned his comment, and then I started in here, and then you said contains. I was like, why are you talking about a formula?
I'm not.
Okay. I just heard like formula talk, and I was like, what? Where are you at? But okay.
So what I was talking about, like he was mentioning about how each term would not be different. And what you would do is you would have a different term per, like each student would have their own term 1 or term 2. Like I would probably just have the name field be a default name, which you can do with just like a filter, and have that, and then have like a date property or a date range property for the length of the term, because each student may work in different terms. Some may go through the summer holiday, some may not. So that's how I would do that. Maybe I'm just talking.
That's where the contains came from. I know what you're talking about now.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think I kind of built what you were talking about while you were doing it. So before I watch these live sessions, I really need to start drinking before they start.
Sorry.
Right. So yeah. So we've got the filter, and I don't know whether you saw me build that. It's really simple. Just name contains term 1. So when I push this add button, it's going to add term 1 into the name. And then we've got lesson 2 in there at the moment. And we can add in, Sean is now a student. Hey. Well, you're probably not. Well, actually, I guess everyone's still technically a student.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if LeBron James is still, taking lessons on how to play basketball, then I certainly need lessons on how to play guitar still.
Very true. Very true. Right, yeah. So we've got the term in here, and then like this one has. I'm going to drag this out so you can see. This one's got the 2 lessons, and then you've got the progress of those 2 lessons. So the first lesson was okay. The second lesson was bad. This one's got 1 lesson. That's the progress. This one's got no lessons, therefore there's no progress. And this progress is manually put in. You could say it's wherever you are along that, and that would be for this song for this student in this term.
Gotcha.
Cool. And then obviously you can have a different filtered view of this database for term 2 and term 3. So you could have a look from a termly basis and go term 1, where were they? Term 2, where were they? And then actually if we go into student, actually, let's copy this before just in case. I can't remember if it's in there or not.
No, term isn't. I didn't add that in.
So this is what John and I were sort of like alluding to when it comes to, I'm going to use the click button, because if I use a shortcut, Notion's going to have a fit. Oh, wow, you got loads of stuff in here. paste, create link database.
So what he's doing, that's basically the same database, but in a different view. It's like almost like a copy of the database, but it's not a copy.
Yeah, so that's what the arrow's for, which is why I did the copy link. So we've got this view of it. So you can see the filter's disappeared because I just copied the link. So this blank page is back. So I'm going to get rid of that because it's literally serving no point. And you see we've got all three of us there. And because this is
yours,
me, yeah, this is me, I'm going to filter by, oh, never mind. Never mind. It still works. There you go. So now it's only going to show me.
And also another good thing that you've added now, and if you look at the lesson notes, you can see how many lessons. Like it's a good reference for you, Sean. If your student has loads of bad lessons, then it's a reference for you as the teacher to go, okay, what's going wrong here? How can I help you better? Do you not feel good? You want to keep going, etc., etc. So it kind of has dual purposes, which I love it when things have.
Yeah, I like that. I'd not construed things in terms of terms before, but is that how you think of your teaching? Do you think of? I
do them in blocks of 10. So
yeah, I tend to for the most part.
So that's why my term would be a block of 10.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, good idea.
I have just noticed, because obviously I've changed the progress in the lectures, the Kanban board, what you previously had, has now obviously turned into this little bit of fun. So, I mean, that could be interesting from that standpoint. You'd have like a list of all the good lessons, all the bad lessons, all the okay lessons. With the progress, because the progress is now termly. So your lesson notes you can look at these and go, whatever the song was, or the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, you need those categories. That sounds hilarious.
I just add actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Well, yeah, we're going to make a template. Good, bad. We're going to go. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Everybody knows, if you've just joined us, this isn't me typing right now, so any mistakes is all him.
Why does a swan come up when you start typing in ugly?
Ugly duckling.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I started typing in. We'll do a swan. Just yeah. I'm not going to actually go to the faces because then you get subjective, and then people's feelings. Oh wow, that's really hard to see. No, I don't like that.
Puke.
What's John? What's ugly?
Puke.
That
works. It's fine.
There we go. There we go. That'll do.
That is completely non-committal to anything.
I was like, how do we be safe? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I actually did, so the video I did on templates has actually done better than almost all of the other videos other than the bidirectional linking one. And I was like, oh, apparently everyone wants to understand templates.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template in the students database. So this has just got us three. And what this means is every time that you have a new student, all of those databases are going to be automatically filtered. Actually, John, do you want to make this?
I can make it if you want, but you're already there. Like,
okay, fine.
You desperately want me to. Like, are you trying to make sure I can actually do things now?
No, it's just I didn't build the first bit. All I did was copy one database in. Oh, fingers on the wrong keys. So we've got lessons, don't we? Is that what it's called? Oh yes, because this workspace doesn't have tons of databases. I don't have to search for them. It's so nice.
It's not going to last very long.
I can't. I just no. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Thank you.
Oh wait, no. We're doing a board. We're doing a board, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I can't do tables. Just no.
I know, right?
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to get rid of one view anyway. Like my mouse, I'm doing things on my keyboard quicker than Notion is.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's really kind of like,
Yeah. Well, it's because I've got like 3 windows up, and I've got my thingies up as well. Right, we want to hide that because we don't want that. And then we're going to filter this, and this is where that's eye drops and tablets and drugs. For those of you that don't know, I've got a bad eye, so I have to take like tablets and eye drops and stuff. Just I'm not like student contains, and then we've got this new student. So instead of having the 3 people we had, because this is technically this new student page as a template in the database is its own page. It just doesn't have any data in there, sort of. So we can relate it to the new student. So whenever you add a new student, it'll automatically be related to whatever the name is up here. So it means you don't have to filter all the databases over and over and over again, because that's just not fun.
Yeah.
On a side note, Jonathan, did you know you could self-filter using rollups?
Whoa, what?
That's what I've just done. On a side note, did you know you could do that?
I think I have done that.
I figured this out like about a month after the self-relating thing came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize it. So I haven't put this in the video, and I feel like people sort of forget that you can self-reference a rollup.
Yes, I did that on a recent project, the architect project. Yes. Yeah. No, I did. Yeah.
That was like really nerdy right there.
Yeah. But you can do this. Yay.
I'll get there.
Right. So we've got
to assign the student to a term. We don't have a roll up for the term yet. Oh no, because we can use the roll up. Sorry, ignore me.
Not gonna lie, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's fine.
So what would we want to see with the term? We want to see the progress. What else? I'm just thinking, like, what view would you want to see it? Like a gallery, a table, a board, list?
Gallery?
That's what I was going towards.
If we don't have like the dates added to the terms, gallery.
I mean, I was going to go with gallery anyway, because you can play around with the views with the gallery.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to filter. I don't even remember what properties we've got in here, so let's just see what we've got. Oh, the student's a relation anyway. And then we've got the new student again. So all the terms have disappeared. What properties do we want to show? I don't want to see page content.
No.
We don't really want to see the lessons. We want to see progress. Sorry?
Whoever like has page contents in there.
Did you see the academic crowdcast on Friday?
No, I didn't. No. Oh,
Sean's disappeared. Maybe Sean will join later on. I don't know. But yeah, so they had they had a gallery view with all their stuff still like showing, like all the page content still showing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see. We
Overwhelming.
Sorry?
I'd find that really overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, it was very odd. They had like a large gallery as well. It was a large gallery. It's literally like a block, and then just like the page content of all the stuff. It was very odd. If and when Sean joins back, I will add him back to the stream. But I'm not sure. Maybe he had to go. I mean, it is kind of like 10 o'clock. But yeah, so we've got progress. We don't need the student because the student's already there. We probably want to see the song.
Yes.
We probably want to see the song. What we can do is go back to our little page. And then we're going to go into the student. I've done it quick with a pasted image right at the top of the page.
Yeah, I've done. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. That's to do with like the gallery, like having it as a content view. Mike said,
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. I mean, I personally don't, but
I just upload as a banner. That's what I personally do.
Right. So, sorry.
I know you just don't have banners. So.
Yeah, no, mine are blank. Yeah, so now we've got term 1 related to Sean, which is nice. This is okay. That's why it's not showing anything, because there isn't any progress. So let's go with a 1. It doesn't have a lesson associated with it. But yeah, hopefully you guys can all see where that's going, because it's all filtered and stuff. And there's the lessons. So we can actually add a lesson from here. So this student dashboard is basically how I would want it anyway, I think.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm liking that. You might have to put this into your space here, Jonathan.
Yeah.
You might have to think about adapting. But yeah, so this is what we've come up with. And without Sean to sort of like guide us along our way, I feel like what I'll probably do is I'll send him obviously, we'll turn this into a free template for those of you to duplicate and mess around with, play with, adapt, change, use, not use, or anything like that. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to sort of like say? Obviously, Sean's sort of like taking a dip, and we've been streaming for 2 hours. So
no.
Nice time to wrap up. So next week, actually, we don't have a specific plan for next week, but we'll be on next week anyway. If you have any ideas of things you want us to build or things you want us to go through, then let us know. If you want to join the stream, there is a link in the description. Now you have 2 term 1s. Yeah, 2 term 1s, because like there's term 1 for each student.
Yeah.
So where we got
the cleanest, but it is. I think that's the closest you're going to get to making it look like with the information we want to see and the way we want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can think of. But yeah, so next week, if you do want to become a guest, there's a link in the description for just like go onto the Calendly link and just pick a week that you want to come on. You can talk about anything and everything, like Notion, productivity. I mean, we could talk about another app if you wanted to, and compare the two, compare workspaces, workflows, or anything like that. In a couple of weeks, you may have seen we've got another Notion Pro joining us, which will be good fun. If you have any questions you want to ask Marie, I will say, because like it was on stream anyway. If you have any questions you want us to ask Marie, then like let me know over Twitter, or let us know over Twitter or in the feeds or anything like that. If you want to see anything in her space, and then I'm sure she'll be happy to share and go through and go over. And yeah, that'll be a good Notion nerd out, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, should be good fun. But yeah, so until next week, guys. Have a good, well, I was going to say weekend, but the weekend's basically finished. So have a good next week, and I will see you guys next week, same time, 7 p.m. BST. If it does change, you'll find out when, obviously, the stream goes up. So yeah, see you guys.
Bye.